Hi everyone, thank you for coming this afternoon for our Bessemer and Ironwood Chamber of Commerce Business Box Lunch. Every month we try to bring you some relevant topics that can pertain to business and how you can run efficiently and a little smarter or a little better in whatever way that your goals are. The topic this month we have is humans are our resources. And one of the challenges we have in our area and in our community is not only attaining the best and the brightest, but it's also retaining the same. So today I'm really excited. We have two really great panelists here to discuss that. We have Brian with Michigan Works, and we have Theresa with Ironwood Plastics. She is the Human Resources Director, is that right? Manager, thank you. And they're going to do a very interactive program with you today to talk about how you can get those people in your door and keep them in your door to make your business more thriving. So I'm going to pass it over to Brian. Pretty much the format is very open, very casual. Please feel free to ask questions when appropriate, and we'll take it from there. We'll wrap up right about 5 to 1 so that we can get everybody back to work on time. So Brian, the floor is yours, and I'll let you two take over. Thank you.
So again, my name is Brian Haanpaa. I'm the business service consultant for Michigan Works. What we do at Michigan Works is we help make more with the recruiting side of things. We have a website that we use for doing that. That is called mitalent.org. So basically, somebody comes in and says, I'm looking for a job. My counterpart would say, okay, well, tell me about your skills and tell me, what you've done in the past, and direct them to that website where they can build a resume, which she can also help with. And say they've never been on an interview, that she can help with that as well. My side of things is more the business end of things. So I'm going to businesses in Gogebic and Ontonagon counties. Those are the counties that I cover. We cover the entire state. And finding out who's hiring and who are they looking for, and how do we find those people. I'm also going into the schools. We just recently held a career day at the Ironwood school. So we're teaching the kids about what's going on in this area, some of the job opportunities and career opportunities, and how they obtain those positions, and what kind of schooling and future things that they need to be planning for. So that's me in a nutshell. We encourage businesses to definitely cast a wide net when they're looking for hiring. I mean, we are a free service, but many people are still reading the newspaper and learning about jobs through job fairs and things of that nature. So I think with the recruiting part, it's important to use as many resources as possible, whether it's online, whether it's, again, the paper, things of that nature. So that's kind of where my expertise lies. If you've got any questions or want to learn more about Michigan Works, that's kind of what I can do for you. So go ahead.
Any questions for Brian? I'll start. I'm not going to sit and talk because I could never sit and talk, so that's why. My name is Theresa Turula, and I'm very happy to be here today. I'd like to thank Kathy for inviting me. I work at Ironwood Plastics. We are one of the larger employers in our communities here, and we have been in business since 1979. I have been there for 33 of those years, and that's important, and you'll find out why a little bit later on. We are a custom injection molder. We employ everything from an entry-level person who looks at our parts, make sure they're good to go out the door, which is probably the single most important job that we have, to engineers. We have mechanical engineers, manufacturing engineers, process engineers, and where we are is a challenge to get the engineering folks to come. Over the years, we have unsuccessfully attracted and attained people. And when I say that, I mean this. They come to our facility. It's a modern facility. The technology is absolutely fantastic. They love it. Some of the things we do is we take them to our beautiful area, and for me, I don't care where they live, Hurley, Bessemer, Wakefield, I don't care, as long as they're going to come here. We take them to the falls, we take them to Copper Peak, we take them to Lake Gogebic, we take them to Lake Superior. They bask at the beauty that we have here. If they have a family, they ask us to go to the schools. We take them to all of the schools so they can really make an informed decision as to where they want to live. So they come here and they make it about 2 winters. Needless to say, we do not recruit in the wintertime. We don't ask people to come up here in the winter. They usually make it about 2 winters, and it's pretty much, there's no shopping, you know, things like that, and they go back to Lower Michigan or Wisconsin, which is usually where we recruit from. So those are our struggles. Those are the things that we struggle with. Our schools really aren't doing our business any favors with no shop classes. Our college has a very limited CAD program. It's a good program, but we would like to see more. You know, Hurley has a fantastic program now. So that's one of the things that we're trying to tap into and utilize our resources here. Brian, Michigan Works is a great resource. He has helped me write many grants for the training that we require. Unfortunately, we really don't have any resource up here for the type of training that I need to send my folks to. We tend to send them down to Lower Michigan or over to Wisconsin. So one of the things, though, that I really believe in very strongly is a part of attracting people is our community. And I don't know if any of you in the room here were here in 2008 when the college invited a speaker by the name of Rebecca Ryan to come to the college. She came and she did a presentation, and it was all about our generations and our millennial generation that we're working with. And her claim to fame is that now people are more interested in where they want to live than they think of getting a job. Okay, so here's a couple of things from this book that if you're interested in that, I highly encourage you to get this book. It's by Rebecca Ryan, and it's called Live First, Work Second. And one of the things she writes is that 3 out of 4 Americans under the age of 28 say that a cool community is more important than a good job. Okay? Next generation economic developers know that if you want to attract the talent who will work in your companies, become your civic leaders, donate to your charities, attend your arts and cultural events, you must have more than good jobs. Okay? She also goes on to say that this millennial generation is like really none we've ever seen. You know, I'm a Gen Xer. I mean, I grew up with sticks and, you know, you went outside at 8 in the morning and you came home at 8 o'clock at night, and that's just not what millennials are doing. So this is an interesting little piece of millennials. It says workplaces have to adapt to accommodating our millennials. Bring your own device trend. Anybody know what that is? BYOD? Bring your own device? Anybody know what that is? It is a policy that most companies have now, and it's for cell phones. People have to rewrite their cell phone policy to accommodate our millennials. It is at least a part in a reaction to the millennials' near addiction to mobile devices. Workplace satisfaction matters more to millennials than monetary compensation, and work-life balance is often considered essential. Work-life balance. It means they want a good job, but they also want to play. They are less likely than previous generations to put up with an unpleasant work environment, and much more likely to use social networking to broadcast their concerns. On the other hand, a satisfied millennial are more often advocates of your organization. Having grown up being bombarded by advertising, millennials tend to be skeptical about promotional materials of any kind. Whether buying products and services or considering employment, millennials are more likely to listen to their friends than to be affected by marketing or public relations. The characteristics make both conventional marketing and employee recruitment practices often ineffective for millennials. So, welcome to human resources, right? Okay. So, what do we do? How do I get these people? How do I get these people to come here? It's beautiful. This area is beautiful. Again, we've been very unsuccessful at recruiting people to come in. So what Ironwood Plastics has done, we've made a very conscious effort to grow our own talent. Who knows better than us how beautiful it is here? Who knows better than my kids, one is graduated and one's going to graduate in a year, what a beautiful area this is. We also know it snows in June, right? So that's no surprise. So we've taken to really growing our own talent. And sometimes that works really well, and other times it hurts us because last year Ironwood Plastics grew 34%. Our sales grew 34% in 1 year, and that's huge, okay? So to get an engineer to come up here who can hit the ground running would be wonderful, but we can't do that, okay? It costs a lot of money, and we're not going to do that. But to grow our own talent also takes a long period of time. But we do it, and we've done it successfully. We have two really good success stories of a young gentleman who graduated from Bessemer High School. He's a business type of kid, went to Gogebic, got a business degree in business administration, is heading off to Northern. He came and spent his first year of college at Ironwood Plastics just as a summer job to get money. Second year, okay, you're done, you're going away to school, see ya. Well, a lot of our engineering folk types recognized this individual, tapped him on the shoulder, and said, you have all of the traits that we need here. Will you consider a technical internship? I said, well, why not? What do I have to lose? That young gentleman went through the technical internship. He did very well. We offered him a job, and he decided not to go to get his 4-year degree in business, but he is now on a technical path where he will, through Ironwood Plastics, acquire an engineering degree and obtain all of the skills necessary to do that. Now, is that going to happen overnight? Absolutely not. It's not. But those are the things that Ironwood Plastics is having to do to keep our youth, our good youth, here working. Okay? Now, what are the things that I have to do? Because it's not all about, the workers. Brian can send me all the workers that I need. But what do I do to make people want to come and work at my business? What do I do to make them stay at my business? Well, again, growing your own talent comes with its own challenges. But what we do here at Ironwood Plastics is we create and we have a very good working atmosphere. And by that I mean we have a culture of discipline. We have 5 guiding principles that everyone must abide by at all times, no excuses. We also have a culture of education. If anyone wants to go and take a class at the college that pertains to their job, we will pay for it. All of the training that we have to give to grow our own talent, and this is engineering type training, robotics training, we provide that for them. And we also have to provide them with opportunity. If there's no opportunity in a business where you work, I don't know, how anxious you are going to be to stay there. So those are 3 things that we really focus on. Good working atmosphere with a culture of discipline, good education, people want to continue, and also for opportunities. Again, do they come quick? Millennials don't like that. Millennials want to be the president after 2 years. But, so those are the 3 things that we do. The other thing that we have to do is we have to provide good pay and benefits, right? We have to offer a fair and competitive wage, and there is a fine balance, because as a company, we need to make a profit. Exactly. So there is a fine balance between that, but we offer a fair and competitive wage. The other thing that people, when they don't think about benefits, or when they think about benefits, it's not just how much we pay you. It's health insurance, it's life insurance, it's 401k, it's a profit sharing program, it's all these things wrapped together. And as the millennials will tell you, what's more important, a question that gets asked now when you're negotiating for a job, how much vacation do I get? That is becoming one of the most important benefits that this generation wants. How much vacation do I get? Okay, so we offer that. And the other thing that I believe is truly the foundation of why you keep good people is you have to provide exceptional leadership. Okay? This is another book, one of my favorite loved books. It's Monday Morning Leadership by David Cortell. If you are interested in leadership at all, I would highly recommend that you get this book. It is one man's journey. He was struggling in his leadership role. And he pulled out of it with the help of a mentor. There's a couple of things that have always resonated with me in my human resources role that have a lot to do with this book here. And this is a conversation between the student and the mentor. The mentor says, with respect to hiring, let's start with a question. And I want everybody in here to answer this question. What is the most valuable asset in your company?
People.
People? People? Anybody else? Okay. That's easy, said the student. People. People are the most important resource in any company. People make the company. The mentor says, okay, now what is your greatest liability? What's your greatest liability in the company? People. What did you say?
She said people.
People. Anybody else? What's your greatest liability? Okay, we'll stick with people. This question was more difficult. This is the student. I think that something like product failure would be a great liability. In my business, we ship out millions and millions and millions of parts. If one of those parts breaks, they're all coming back. So that's a big liability. The mentor says, I don't agree with either point, people or product failure. And the student says, I'm not sure. I'm right about the greatest liability, but I know I'm right about people. People bring the most important asset in our company. How could you argue with that? Customers judge us on our company, on the people that they deal with. The mentor says this, I agree with everything that you've said. The question was a trick question. The most important asset in your company is having the right people. The right people. Okay? The greatest liability in your company is having the wrong people. Yes. Very simple words, but very true words. We want to attain the right people. Now, being in human resources, I hire the right people all the time. Everyone I hire becomes successful. Well, no, that's not really the way that it works. But through, doing our due diligence and all of the things that I talked about earlier, the having a good working atmosphere with a culture of discipline, opportunity, continuing education, good pay, good benefits for our people, and having a leader who is there to really lead and guide you through a career. Those are the things that I believe, and Ironwood Plastics believes, that we need to retain these people. And one other thing that this book talks about is, and it's something that has always stuck in my head for years, is that people normally quit because their manager is not meeting their needs. People quit people before they quit companies. And that's very powerful. People quit people before they quit companies. We give exit interviews all the time, and it's very rarely, the company is unsafe, and my pay is terrible, and stuff like that. It's usually one of those reasons. So, given that, I will open it up to any questions that anybody might have.
Just a comment. While I was superintendent, we always had difficulty recruiting people from 250 miles below the bridge. We also grew our talent at home many of whom are Ironwood, Wakefield, or Bessemer students that wanted to come back and teach. The vast majority of our people are from the UP. But I was in contact with people over the years in special education and that from my school, Eastern Michigan University, and they were almost terrorized into thinking they would be coming here. It's going to snow. But I thought your point was well taken with many people stay 2 years and then choose to leave. I think the spouse in many cases can't take it.
Yes. Yes, that's probably there's probably been about 7 folks over the years that it is the spouse. I mean, this is a man's paradise if you're a hunter or a fisher. They would never leave. But we do have a little bit of an issue with the ladies. So.
Chickens.
Yes. Again, who better to know what goes on in this area than our very own kids? And we have very, very talented kids, and adults too. And Ironwood Classics actually offers an engineering scholarship. And we try to get, these kids to come back every year, and that's been a little unsuccessful as well. The kids tend to want to stay down, to the colleges where they are, which is fine. I mean, you're young, you're discovering yourself. That's fine too, but and giving money to kids for education is never a bad thing. So, but it's this area that we have to promote, and I know Kathy is a chamber member. You're a chamber member, all of you. It is true. People are surfing the net and they're looking at, what do I like to do? That's where I want to go and live. And oh yeah, let's see if there's businesses there. That's really what's happening. It really is. And it is no longer an employer's job market. There are a lot of jobs in our local newspaper, and they're good jobs. So we don't have the luxury of, I put an ad in the paper and I get 75 applications for one job. I don't have that anymore, which is a good thing. I think that's a great thing. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
Have you considered, I'm sure the chamber members and the chamber presidents has discussed this as to coming to the council meetings and working with the council people in all these towns, because you're a very powerful speaker, and it has to do with the towns and growing and making your towns attractive.
Yes.
And we all know the issues that are happening, and it would be awesome if yourself and others will come to the council people.
Sure.
And
like I said, I don't care where you live. I have no issues with that. And not just for out of town people, for our own people, to keep our people here. So many young kids who are leaving the area because they think they have to, and they don't. And we actually have 2 of our business development manager and our program manager. One is a graduate of Wakefield High School, one is a graduate of Bessemer, I believe. They went away to Minnesota, worked in companies there, but all came home. After 10 years, they had started to have families. They didn't want to live in the cities anymore, and we were fortunate enough to attract those people. So people come home, they do. I just don't want them to leave.
Theresa, I'm going to comment from here on that. If I could have a raise of hands, how many of us in this room grew up in this area, moved away from this area, and now have come back to this area? Okay, I'm going to raise John. Let's hand you the with John. So just by a show of hands there, you can see that one of our untapped resources to attain people might be those that have moved away, and we need to go back and find them if they might be that resource to bring back to the area. For myself personally, it took me 30 years for myself and my husband, he is also from this area, had an opportunity to come back. Maybe we weren't looking deep enough before, maybe there were other reasons, everybody has their own, but possibly there might be an opportunity for us to work with the school system, with our alumni, and find those people and reach out to them. They might be that resource we're looking for, whether they're an entrepreneurial type spirit to open a business. You all might be familiar with the Matonish building that used to be old Dr. Grace's building. And I think Outcast Signs was in there too on Main Street. John Matonish is putting in his new business coming up shortly in the next month or so. And he too, being a graduate, then gone, comes back. So maybe it might be an opportunity for us to, you know, we really do. Teresa's right. We're a community and we have to look to tap into every head and every resource that's out there to bring people back home or retain them to stay here.
And then you read about the millennials, you know, they're not gonna read what you put in anyway. Great, you know, there's $10,000 of marketing material down the drain. But we also try Ironwood Plastics, you know, we sponsor all of the 4th of July things that go on, and I'm sure you folks have seen our billboards, you know, just so that maybe that one person who is driving through our town on the 4th of July might go, I didn't know that business was here, or, you know, something like that. We can try as hard as we can, because when you have people here on vacation, again, that's one of their happy times, and, you know, if we can just get a little bit of their attention, but, you know, it's also very hard to do. With all of the scenic beauty, I mean, there was Bob Jackwood who said, who are you to think that a billboard is going to compete with all of the beauty that surrounds it? And it's true. You know, you come down that curve from Bessemer by the Powderhorn skier guy there, and that whole section of trees there that's so beautiful. My God, there could be $1 million bill sitting on the sign and I wouldn't see it, you know. So anything we can do, we try, you know, and this is a good opportunity here too. Somebody sitting here might be saying, geez, you know, my kid is an engineer and he'd really like to come back, you know. Give us a call.
And that's what we're doing at Michigan Works as well, is if we get the right position, I'm not saying a part-time waitress, we're going to call in on you and say, I've got a part-time waitress, but an engineer or something. We've got relationships with Michigan Tech and Northern and other schools downstate that we do send them job postings and say, hey, you know, if you've got somebody that you know that came from this area, show this to them and make sure that they know that there is opportunity to come back and be successful and good careers at places like Ironwood Plastics and many others. Again, working with the business community on job career fairs that we've been doing at the schools, you kind of learn more about, there are a lot of opportunities if you educate yourself correctly or get the right training. There are opportunities out there, and making sure our youth know that maybe even before they leave the area, to know that, well, hey, I did learn that there's an engineering job waiting for me, potentially, if I get the right education. So all those things are very important. And then also to comment on something you said about the people coming to a place not necessarily looking for a job. We're seeing a ton of that, where somebody will say, when I was a kid, I came up here for vacation, and I remember that, it was a beautiful place, and now I'm here, now I need a job. That's happening very common in Michigan Works. I bet you we see that in the office at least twice a week now. Maybe some people for the right reasons and some not necessarily, but we're seeing some good talented people come in, like you said, just because it seems like a beautiful place to live. And then 2 years down the road, they've had a couple of winters, and we see where they are at, but they are coming to check it out.
One of the other neat things of living here is that I think about the teachers. For example, since I worked here for 12 years, you come to work at 7:45 in the morning and you're done at 3:15 or 3:30. We notice our neighbor, a tremendous elementary teacher, that is often home at 25 after 3. I mean, she lives 3 blocks from where she works. Now think about that. Having a lifetime job for 30 years where you live 4 blocks from work. Think of the time you're saving to be doing the other things you want, We're never more than 3 minutes from being out in the woods here. Doesn't matter which of the communities you live in. And if you work in Ironwood Plastics, you're 10 or 12 minutes from the job. That's it. So at the end of your day, you're back early. It's just a wonderful place that way.
And it's an exciting time because there's currently 6 opportunities just in the Ironwood School that I know of where they're looking for teachers. They're having some retirements come up. So hopefully, with work with, like I said, the colleges and recruiting efforts, maybe we can tap into some of those kids that went away and got a teaching degree. I know that there's a couple of teachers in Ironwood that were my age or younger that went there and are now back teaching. So I'm hoping we see more of those faces back in the area, definitely.
One of the other things that we try to do when we have recruited from out of the area is, what are your spouse's interests? Oh, well, she's a bank teller. Okay, well, do you want to talk to some people at the banks? Or they work in healthcare, something like that. So I would encourage all of you, if you are the hiring person, if you're recruiting people and the spouse needs a job, well, think of us too. That's kind of how we can all help each other in that endeavor as well. And one other thing that I wanted to share about being in a business for so long, and we all know in this room that you're not the same business you were in 1979 that you are in 2017. If you haven't changed, you probably have to close the doors a lot sooner than later. And being a Gen Xer myself, the last few years, I would get all these wonderful applications and I would make all these phone calls, and there was a common theme. Nobody has a landline anymore, it's all cell phones. So I would call and I would get this user has a voicemail box that's not set up, right? I'm like, well, how stupid are they? They're applying for jobs and they don't even have their voicemail set up. And then it dawned on me, and it took about a year, and I consider myself to be pretty intelligent, but it took me about a year to realize these kids don't talk on the telephone. What do they do? Oh, okay. So I do the same person. This is Ironwood Plastics. I've got your application. If you're interested in an interview, give me a call. 2 seconds later. Boom. So we have to change too with these millennials, right? I'm not kidding.
Social media.
Yes.
Sites are you using to reach them?
We do have a Facebook page. We're not very good at keeping it up. Unfortunately, the corporate world is not allowing us to. We're owned by a larger company, and they shy away from that type of thing. There's too many unexplored things yet that haven't come into fruition, so we really can't use it. Websites we can use though, our website we use a lot.
Do you have onboarding on your website?
We do not, yeah. Our website, I will admit, is not the greatest thing on the face of the planet. That is something that we are very much lacking in. Yeah.
It's just an opportunity though.
Oh,
It's not a
absolutely.
criticism. It's hard to do all that because most onboarding now is feeding data into your HR, so you have to make changeovers.
Yep.
It's hard. One of the things about moving back to the area, wine tasting, we'll keep the women here.
I just told Brian.
It's Monday night, the food tasting, it was fabulous, and they had wine.
I just told Brian, I've never done this before. I've never come and spoke. And Kathy was saying, sometimes depending on the topic. And I told Brian, I said, if we could have wine for lunch.
But events, I think events like that, I've never seen that before when I lived here. I was here 30 years ago. But like the theater event in Ironwood was fabulous. I've been all over the country. It was fabulous. That the other night at this college was fabulous. Events, if companies or people can get together and do events, it's fabulous.
And those are the things that will attract people. Again, they're Googling areas to see what's here. They don't care that Ironwood Plastics is here. That's kind of a, ooh, look. What a benefit. So, any other questions?
Just a comment. You mentioned regarding using texting. I would just like to ask the people here if they have children, and try to communicate with them through email. Does anybody ever respond? I think that's part of the past. Expecting younger people to email you back.
Yes.
It's all Facebook or one of the social medias.
Yes.
Where you can talk to everybody at once rather than just a privatized note back to mom or dad or grandpa or grandma.
You know, the one thing though, the one objection that I would have to all this social media is, and again, Brian and I were just talking about this, most companies you can't apply online. You know, that's sort of common. But for us, we do not have online applications for a very good reason. People still need to write. You still need to be able to write a sentence. I have seen, I can't even tell you how many applications with, you know, RU, not AREYOU, but RU, you know. Again, I am willing to text you for an interview, but that's pretty much it. You have to write an application, because in the business world, I don't care what your job is, you have to be able to communicate, you have to be able to talk, and you have to be able to write. That's not going away. It's just not. So for instant communication, maybe, but we have a rule in our company, if it's more than 2 sentences, if an email is more than 2 sentences, you go up and you talk to that person. And I think that's a really good rule. Social media is great, but I have 2 younger kids, and yeah.
Theresa, one last thing. You mentioned you have 5 rules within your organization. What are they?
It is trust. We have to trust each other. I have a job to do, you have a job to do, and we need to trust that we're going to do that. Communication, excellence, meaning we strive for excellence in everything that we do, all day, every single day. And that's tough. Excellence is tough, I think. Teamwork, I mean, that goes without saying. You know, you have to be able to work in a team, especially nowadays. If you are a loner or you can't work in teams, you know, and respect. Did I say respect? Respect, excellence, communication, teamwork, and trust. Yes. That's
Thank you.
Yep. We have big, huge banners. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to suggest something that I've been sort of planning for a year, and that might help people come from out of area, even just to visit and then realize how great it is. Something called First Night. I don't know if anyone's ever done that. It's where, and we have a perfect town for it, you know, little churches and schools, like areas that have, you know, condensed public areas. Every half hour on New Year's Eve, it's a sort of alcoholic alternate to, you know, New Year's Eve, but people could pop into bars and stuff too. Where every half hour there would be entertainment at certain venues, and you have a list of what it is, and you buy a button for $5 or $8, and it lets you into all the different venues. And there could be like a bonfire in the center, like Sisu has, you know, a bonfire in the center of the street. And I would like to work on that. I can't do it alone. So if anybody wants to do that with me, I would appreciate that.
Any other questions of me? Yes, sir.
I'll ask one more, because I've been the receipt of this from some phone calls. When you prepare your beginning promotional materials, you do have some sort of a description of the area, correct? What of the area offerings do you emphasize? Is it more of a natural resource emphasis, or is it, there are certainly other things up here. What is the emphasis that you stress on those materials?
Ours is outdoors.
It is.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. And, you you know, we've had some phenomenal women engineers too, please don't get me wrong, but it's mostly a male, you know, career choice, and we're really, you know, appealing to that market. So it's fishing, it's hunting, not that women, because I fish, you know, I do. Fishing, hunting, and just the outdoor life in general. And the Sisu, that's great. That's been a great marketing tool for us. You know, it's things like that. But again, growing our own talent is really where we've been focusing a lot. And again, we have some absolutely phenomenal youth here that are leaving, and we'd really like to keep them in the area, and then be there for them when they want to come back with the, you know, I told you so. No. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Kathy, thanks again for asking me to come.
Thank you very much. The area has many great attributes to it, and we're all aware of it because we're here, we live it every day. But we have to remember, as I'm driving through Chicago yesterday and Louisville before that with under construction, and I'm sitting in Milwaukee and I'm in 6 lanes of traffic, and it's taking me, you know, half hour to go 10 minutes down the road. There are so many great benefits to sitting at Powderhorn Crossing there, and you have to wait for 8 cars. So think about that the next time you're complaining because there's one more car coming. And that's, you know, there's the lifestyle, the outdoor lifestyle that people have to envelop. We are not the shopping mecca, but we can be the best place to live, work, and play. And we need to make sure we're communicating that all the time, whether it's in our businesses day to day, our family, our friends, because if they are part of our world and they entrust to us, they will also share that experience with others. So sometimes the greatest advocates to bring people here is ourselves. So don't forget that. And bringing that positive sense of well-being that comes with living here is another, you know, truly wonderful attribute that we have to offer here. So thank you to our panelists. I do promise everyone that they're going to get out on time by 1 o'clock. I want to let you know that the next Business Box Lunch and the Business After 5 will be hosted by Michael Meyer's team with the Ironwood Chamber of Commerce. We will be putting that information out there. Just for those of you that aren't aware, we do partner with Ironwood Chamber now, and we do a lot of batting back and forth. It's allowing us to bring a bigger presence and a lot more opportunity for our business community here. Wakefield is actually looking to join us, so we'll be reaching out to them in the very near future. And to me, that's very, very exciting. It's part of our initiative with the Western UP Chamber Alliance, which is part of the Whoopiters initiative with the Regional Prosperity Initiative. So there's a big picture that this all trickles down to as to what we're trying to accomplish here. So please tell others about our Business Box Lunches. Please attend if you can, and also to our Business After 5s or the Morning Brews. All of those bring another opportunity to come together as a community and show strength. So thank you all for coming.